9:50 hours, and tonight kind of starts off with putting some holes in metal. This is in the continuation of the camera project. This is the cover that covers all the good stuff that we've been building and working on for the last I don't know, month. So we're at my work because I don't have anything to drill with at the cave. So what I've decided in this thing is there's a motor right here, and there's a motor right here. And so what I've decided is that I'm actually using my Arduino Uno as a template, kind of. What I'm going to do is mount right about there in this thing. So up in this corner here will give us a good clearance from the motors, as well as room to get in here and get to this connection point, as well as any other wiring and whatnot will be over in this area. So right over in here is really kind of the optimal positioning for our board. So what I need to do now is probably pull a drawing. What I'd like to do is pull a drawing for what makes the Uno, where's the mounting holes on this guy here, and so actually 1, 2, but where are they? And then I'll do a quick little sketch, print out a piece of paper. This is my cheat. I'll tape it onto to actually this surface here, and then I'll put in some points, punch some holes, boom, boom, or punch wherever I need to mount, drill it, and then I'll actually have the mount holes I need for the rest of the parts, and then we can kind of tie all that in and finish up the construction. And a couple minutes later, I now have an enclosure with a couple holes in it, and inside I've got the Arduino kind of mounted in, my Arduino Uno mounted in there. I'm a little concerned that I may have not left enough room between the wall and the Arduino, because the prototype shield has a little bit of a bump that looks like it kind of poops out further. So it might be sitting right against this wall, or it might hit the wall. So I might have to drill some more holes. I wanted to avoid that, but sometimes you have to do what you got to do. Back to the cave. We're back in the cave. Last night, after I was done, after I ended the blog roll, I kind of was playing around with what I'd built, and I kind of put down a piece of paper towel and the Arduino assembly and everything, and kind of cut out the connector and stripped the wires and whatever, and kind of connected the system temporarily together, as well as you can see those pair clipped come over to this meter. Turn it back on. So I was kind of just playing around with the whole setup, because I built it. I felt like playing with it. So what I'm going to do is figure out what my IP address is, because I don't remember. That's one of the things I don't really like about this system, is I don't necessarily know what the IP address of... Oh yeah, I got to turn the wireless back on. What the IP address is of that device. Maybe I'll write it on the outside when I'm done. However, it's definable in the program. You can tell it what IP address you want it to be, but you have to know what IP address it is to begin with, and as you can imagine, that's not necessarily always helpful. Okay, here we go. So I want to content, but right now it's at 10.168.232.60 at port 8888. That's on my own network. Okay, so yeah, hooked it up. Let me punch in the command here. So camera left, so L, camera, comma L, camera, comma L, comma 255. So that's I'm telling the camera to pan left at a speed of 255, and if everything's fat, dumb, and happy here. Oh, I'm gonna put a carriage return on the end. There it goes. Turn, baby, turn. So I also adjusted the stops that were, I know you guys have kind of seen, if you've been watching me develop this thing, you've seen me do something like this in the past. But I moved the stops so this thing can actually rotate significantly further now. So I'm kind of happy with that. So there's that, and of course we can. I also moved the stops so this guy will really tip. So yeah, and as you can kind of see, the Arduino is actually on the camera arm right now. So, but that's what this metal box is all about. Hopefully here shortly, I'm gonna start playing with it and getting this into this, so that this whole thing can get kind of closed up and kind of become one big thing. So I better get back to it. So I've got the Arduino in the a little stack kind of mounted. You can barely see there because there's no light. Let's change angles. And as I feared, this guy is right up against our wall, so that's it's not dangerous because there's no conductive portions. There's really no conductive thing right on the edge there. It's just fiberglass, so it's not really super dangerous or anything. Yeah, I just don't like the way this thing mounts. I know that there's additional mount points and stuff, but this Arduino is just garbage when it comes to mounting. The holes are garbage. I mean, the thing that's got me here, look at the Arduino Uno. It's like, that's a mounting hole right there. I mean, it's right on the edge of the connector. What am I supposed to do there? I can't put a spacer there. And, you know, it's like some of the other ones are okay. I mean, this one's probably the most decent out of all of them. But even still, it doesn't have an actual pad. I mean, if you look at like PC104 equipment, they have the hole, and then they have this big, nice copper area for things to sit on. If, you know, either it's a spacer. In fact, it's probably the ground plane as well. You know, so it's very kind of shoddy to really not give you good mounting, but it is what it is. One of the other problems is my screws that I grabbed are way too long. So I don't think it will be a problem tonight, but because I think this is like quote-unquote dead space right here. But going forward, it might end up being a problem. March 5th, and I continue my work. So far today, I've wrapped up the board that kind of goes on the top of everything. Right there's the TTL to RS-232 converter, and it's connected to, I don't know, will this thing focus? Connected to the communication lines, and then it kind of connects into the board, and then on the reverse side, I've got some nice leads that over to a nice Molex 0.1 inch connector on this side. So that's for communication. Now on the other side, I've got another one. I wish it was a different pin number, but I didn't have anything else, so that's what I got. And that guy actually connects to the analog connections as well as power. So that's actually the connection that'll actually tell us the positioning if I ever implement that. So I built the hardware, but I don't actually have a software plan for it yet. But I also have come over to the camera or the robot side of it, and I cleaned up the terminals for the pots. So now they're nice and clear. That one, and yeah, that one. So those wires are gone, and they're prepped for wires if I want to add them. So now I need to really work on these, but I don't have the connector I want for that yet. But I need to work on these, which are the wires for the motor and the shut-off switches and whatnot. So I've got four wires that I need to hook into. Here's where the guy's living right now. Into this guy. So that's kind of the next project. I got this worked out. I need to work out the cable plan from him to here's my DB15 that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a DB15 female. So it's different than the other one. You can't plug them in. So I got to work out that plan, and I should break out my book and kind of do a quick sketch. But that's so far where I'm at. So after several hours of work, I'm left with this. Everything's in kind of the can. You can kind of see everything in there, kind of, with a low light. There's my cable assembly. I kind of drew it out in AutoCAD. There's kind of the current layout of it. And so I just kind of reproduced that. I'm a little bit concerned about the TX and RX lines, because I always find a way to mess them up, like flip them. So that said, I can just take this connector. Where'd my pointer go? I can just take that white connector right there apart and the orange and yellow. I can just flip those. If it's the other side, I'll have to resolder those, but that's really not a huge deal. That can be done relatively easy. The other problem I'm running into, well, I'll check it out. So this guy goes on. Whoop, gotta put it on the right way. Oh, this might be a great application for my camera glasses. Oh, I'll be right back. Yeah, the little bit of problem is this. This is kind of spongy, which so when it's closed up and you can kind of see everything as it will be as it gets used. But the problem is it's kind of springy when I push on it, which means it's pushing on something. So it's not lined up properly and it's running into something. What I think it's running into is the Arduino stack. As you may see, I kind of removed one of the screws. So the board isn't straight, it's actually more tipped up right now. That's not a huge problem. This one, like I said, is my prototype, so I figured I'd encounter some problems like this. So maybe just scooting the board up a little bit, as much as maybe 1/4 of an inch, will get it out of the way of the motors and whatnot. I'll have to keep kind of turning that problem in my mind. So. But for right now, looks like I'm ready to build my external cable, the cable that plugs into my DB15, and connect to my cameras and double check and make sure all the electronics are working. Then I put everything together, then I test everything else. So, in other words, it's coming together, it's just taking its sweet ass time. So, I've now got the system kind of in its can. You can kind of see it there. The Ethernet is working, but the serial isn't working. And that click you may have just heard is today's latest condition. Let's see if it... Where for some reason I have not yet determined, it suddenly draws a tremendous amount of amperage and overcurrent. Come on. And tends to overcurrent this adjustable power supply. So at 10 volts it starts overcurrenting. I have no idea why it's doing that, and I would blame it on my work that I've been doing, except it happens with just the Ethernet board as well. So I really don't know. I'm getting kind of tired, and I think that's enough for tonight. So I guess the last thing on the list is I gotta get whatever serial problem that thing's having solved. I'm not seeing any power on the other side, so just heard it click. See, I mean, it calms back down. It's just intermittent, I guess. Good, because intermittent problems are never hard to solve. Anyways, so that's where I'm at for tonight. I think I'm going to take a little break and reapproach it tomorrow.